Khalil, all of those who have been on the phones with me, and Angie Rye, who has been uh, essentially babysitting me and taking care of me, and Tiffany Cross has been doing the same. My husband is on this call, who's also been doing the same. Mignon Moore, who, my counselor, who's been so great, so kind to just always give me advice. Obviously, Joteka, you are just everything, everything, everything. Holly, who I've been bugging and harassing, who's been making all the technical. I can't even name everyone. Everyone, you all know that you are valuable, you are wonderful, and I hope I haven't missed anyone. It's just my heart is so full.
Angela
I'm trying
Rye,
to get through
Tiffany
it, but
Cross,
everyone who took the time on a Sunday when it was not a regular call to
worse.
get on this call, I can't even begin. As you can imagine, I have been through every emotion um, over the past several days. Tasha knows, she's been on the calls with me for some of them. Angela surely knows. Carrie Jammy's been on with me. Alicia Guards. I've just been talking to we call ourselves our machetes. I've been talking to so many people, but I've been through every emotion from, anger, rage, disappointment, hurt, feeling that, you know, guilt, that I let my team lose their jobs. Um, but in the end, where I really land and where I've landed on today is just gratitude, um, just pure gratitude, and and gratitude, not just because people would take the time to get on a call like this, or to take care of me, um, but also that my show had value, and that I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value.
Let's remove for a second our opinion about Joy Reid and her narrative and whether or not we agree with her. Let's just remove that from the conversation for the moment, temporarily. All right. And the reason that we want to remove this from the moment temporarily is because we want to talk about the business side of it. First of all, you got Angela Rye and Tiffany Cross. Those are the main two names that she named that I recognize because I understand that Tiffany Cross was a part of MSNBC, I believe, at one point. Trash ratings, cut out. Angela Rye, they both got I know that Angela Rye got her own podcast and all of that. Trash ratings. And they always want to say truth to power and all of this. But the fact of the matter is that the business side of it always trumps and triumphs because there is payroll to pay, there is marketing, there's advertisements, there's a lot to go on. And for the amount of money that Joy Reid allegedly was making, yet the type of numbers that she was putting in was abysmal. It was abysmal. And so we don't care about, and I'm looking at it purely from a business perspective, and then we're going to get into the other side of it once we hear some more of what she has to say. We don't care about how you feel. We don't care about what you thought your platform was for, when in reality, you know, it wasn't doing the numbers that was required. And your show, which was basically a primetime slot at, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern, competing against everything that's happening out here, including content creators. I mean, for God's sakes, you got this major platform that's backing you. I can tell you, I know YouTubers and content creators that do bigger numbers, live stream numbers, and they got it out the mud and they didn't even have any corporate backing. All right. So the tiers, listen, cool, your team got cut or whatever. People get cut every day, B. The fact of the matter is you eat what you kill, and we're no longer going just based off of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it has to be merit-based. It has to be merit-based, meaning that if you do the numbers and you got the audience, see, all of these people want to show up and act like they love you and they support you as they watching your show organically, because anybody can show up after you get fired and get canned and you got the most visibility at the moment. But was they watching your show organically, meaning that they were tuning in to really see what you had to say versus to criticize the trash that you were spewing out of your mouth? Let's continue into what she got to say, y'all.
And value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I say this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. and that it kind of and then it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Um, where I land is that
And
the
really did a
moment that
Zoom call,
of
fam,
guilt that I felt that I
over
went
her getting
hard on
fired.
so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or
Black Lives Matter. Think about what she just said. The first issue, of course, it was Black Lives Matters, Marxist organization that was started by female lesbians that just finessed the community and never really added any value whatsoever outside of a slogan.
when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, that or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did
Illegally.
and try to make a life and
Illegally.
defended them. Um, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues. And yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. Um and
You can stand on the unemployment line. We cool with that.
I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show. I'm proud of my little team, who the little team that could. I told them today they were the Avengers. They were this little diverse team who we constructed deliberately to represent every type of person in this country, every uh, religion, every faith, every race, every region,
Oh my
um,
God.
every sensibility, every sexual orientation. We said we were intentional. I was very intentional in building my team, inspired by the great Melissa Harris Perry, my dear sister Melissa Harris Perry, from whom I inherited television, okay, who gave me, with her grace, the opportunity to host in her sacred hour on the weekends, and let me open the door to a Tiffany Cross. Let me open the door to Black people who were not typically on TV. To a Tracy, who started as my producer and then got nominated for an Oscar because she's so brilliant. Let me open the doors to Black people to talk about economics and science and not just Black pain. I am not sorry. And I am so proud of what we did, and so grateful that God gave me nearly 5 years to do it. And in total, nearly 10 years to do television my way. Uh,
Yeah, and we're going to go ahead and let that diversity, equity, and inclusion way that you did it go. We good. We done with that.
on my terms. And so it's been a very
Thank God.
strange Black History Month. Um, I
And she
won
got
an
let go on Black
NAACP
History
Image
Month.
Award, as did Miss Joteka, for this show. And I'm proud that it was specifically for our interview with Brittany Griner, who so many of the people on this call fought for her, believed in the cause of her freedom. Y'all fought for that.
And we traded literally Nicolas Cage, the Russian merchant of death, for Brittany Griner. And what has she done that truly transformed anybody's life or done anything remotely worthy of her freedom versus what it is that we traded in for and who we left behind? Insane. Think about what these people are saying right now on this call, on this Zoom call.
I just channeled it on television, and the NAACP Image Awards saw fit to award us for it. So I just want to thank all of you. I'm
Crazy.
so deep in gratitude.
NAACP.
I'm so deep in joy, even though I'm crying. I'm actually just so deep in joy and gratefulness that there's nothing that can hurt me now. And I'm going to go forward and
Yeah, you got your
promise to
money.
all of you that the
I hope
service
you
I feel
stacked.
God put me on this earth to provide, other than telling Miss Murley's story, um, the service I feel, and I see Rashad here. I just see Rashad's name pop up, who I love. The service I was put here is to try to tell the truth, to try to find the truth, and to try to explain the inexplicable and to try to make it make sense. And that's what I've always told my team. Our job is not to be the news. Our job is to help people to understand what's happening. Is
And that's the reason why you are on the unemployment line. Is that your job wasn't to tell the news, your job was to basically manipulate the news so that you could say what you wanted to say instead of telling it exactly how it is. You wanted to create a narrative that was based around racism, classism, and you thought that diversity, equity, and inclusion was going to allow for you to keep your job. But we're not doing that no more in 2025 and going forward. Shout out to Black History Month and a new person that came in on MSNBC that said that they wanted to do things differently. We love that.
to understand the horrors that are happening and to understand the joy. We had a moment of joy, to understand that sometimes there's pain, but there's also joy. So I promise I'm going to keep doing that. I
She's
have
gonna
set
start her own
myself up because I've been
platform,
very realistic and setting
YouTube
myself up
channel,
always for the future. I'm always planning for the future. And so there
TikTok.
is a future for my voice. And if you all are so kind to support it, I will just be I will be even more grateful if that is even possible that I am right now. So I'm going to stop because I have composed myself again. And I just want to thank you all for coming here tonight for me. My heart is bursting with just absolute gratitude.
So there you have it. There is Joy Reid's statement or breaking of her silence on a Zoom call with all of her supporters to gather behind there so they can rally up and be able to create her a platform so that her voice can continue to be heard about all of the Black things that's happening in the community. Uh, you guys let me know what your thoughts are and how you see things and whether or not you think that Joy Reid is going to be successful outside of a major news network like an MSNBC and her and the Avengers and the little people that could. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.